So we're going to start with a new topic. In this case, it's going to be myths. And this is a very interesting, a very important, and a very entertaining topic. So I hope this video as an introduction serves to gather some interest and to provoke some curiosity about this topic. First, and mythology are not the same thing. So we have to know how to choose our words wisely. And when we say myth, we're going to be talking about one thing. If we say mythology, it's going to be a whole new other thing, all right? So let's see the difference to the setting actually. So first, we have myth that comes from the word from Greek mythos. And mythos means legends, uh, fable, or saga. While mythology comes from the word mythos and logos, which means fable, legend, or saga that is written or that is impressed. And this was the first origin of the word, but now the term has evolved and has changed, as everything in literature. And right now, mythology, we are going to consider it as the science that studies myths. All right? So, without further ado, let's jump into myths. Before actually getting to know some characteristics and some functions and some examples, also we need to understand that a myth is a sacred story. They're usually sacred stories from different cultures. They are from a very distant past, usually the beginning, the creation of the culture or the town or even the world, and are generally focused on gods. Okay, so here we have the first characteristics of a myth. But some people tend to mix or to confuse legends and folk tales too. So we already know what a myth is. Okay, let's see what is not. A legend, as you can see, is for or is about a more recent past and based on historical events. And instead of having gods and deities and demigods, we have human heroes. And then we have folk tales. Folk tales are about magic, animal-like characters. For example, here in Costa Rica, we have duendes, we have La Mona. So those are folk tales, while legends are about human characters. And they can be human heroes, or on the complete opposite side, they can be human evil characters. For example, El Cadejo. We have El Cadejo, which is about a human, and it's definitely not a hero, right? So this is a legend. Now that I hope you won't get some other characteristics about myths. We have, as I was saying before, they are about gods, goddesses, deities, and heroes having godlike qualities. So what is a god? For example, a god could be someone like Zeus, a goddess. Okay, we have Aphrodite and we have many other. Deities are entities that are not gods, but they still have some power. And then we have heroes having godlike qualities, so they can be very strong, or they can be, or they can have some sort of power, but they are still mortals. So, for example, we have a hero with godlike qualities would be Hercules. Also, we need to know they are very, very old, and we need to consider that at that times sciences were not precise. Okay, and therefore people had a lot of questionings. For example, why is the sky blue, or why are the lightning bolts falling from the sky when there's a storm? So someone or the whole culture started creating different myths. So most likely people were having questions about why are lightning bolts falling from the sky, and someone said, okay, maybe there's a god throwing lightnings at us, and that's the origin of Zeus. And as you can see here, they were explaining natural phenomena. Why is the sky blue, or why is uh, the water running a certain way? There are many different things that people were asking, and they didn't have an answer because sciences, technologies, psychology, and philosophy were not precise at that time. They also describe rituals and ceremonies to these cultures. So they based their cultures in a certain way that they became part of the myth, and then the myth became part of the culture. So culture and mythology started being the same thing, or at least their beliefs. So, as everything in life, everything has a function. There's a nature to it. And one of the first things about myths is that they actually have, or they have been, an element of humans since the very beginning of history. So, we have that humans have been telling stories, and they have been creating myths, and they have been creating uh, these scenarios in different worlds. So, myths have been around humanity since the very beginning. They also try to teach a moral lesson. Every time we see a myth story, there is usually a moral lesson, and they can explain different events and cultures if we pay attention to it. So people were asking a lot of things at a certain time, and they were creating their uh, rituals and practices around this mythology. So we can actually understand a culture by just reading some of their mythology. And they actually lead to creativity. Someone was actually very creative enough to create these myths, stories. But then they have also inspired a lot of new different stories and a lot of new different material that's based on these myths, and that have proved to be a base for creativity. I also wanted to show you some of, or give you some examples about myths. So we have very common or known characters from different mythologies. For example, if we think about Nordic mythology, we have Thor, Odin, Loki. But then if we think about Greek mythology, for example, we have Hercules, we have Zeus, and some other gods that come from the Olympus. And if we think about a more modern character that comes from Greek mythology, we have Percy Jackson, which is Poseidon's son. Alright, and we're going to be using this character a lot. We're going to study some of its stories and some of their aspects to better understand myths in the following classes. So, as of now, guys, I hope I was able to make this topic short and easy enough for you to understand it. Of course, you can come to me with any questions you have, and I will see you in the next video.